Alrighty, folks. Welcome, welcome. I don't think there was a waiting room, so I think everyone is in here. Guys, can you let me know in chat if you can just put a one in chat if you can see us here, if you can see us here live? Okay, amazing. We uh we just needed a minute there. My dad was having trouble find the Zoom. We're still working on those tech skills, but we're making amazing progress. So thank you for hanging with us, team. Guys, really excited for this call. Um, my dad and I jumped on for the first time together, maybe close to a month ago now, talking about personal growth. Now, you've probably had the opportunity to hang out with my dad on other content that we've done. We've done webinars in the past, and we serve over 150 clients that are in the Graystone ecosystem, supporting them on long-term investing. My dad has a very extended background working on Wall Street, starting in the 90s through the 2020s, the early 2020s, and that is where he has spent the vast majority of his professional life. But throughout that period of his life, starting in the late 2000s and 2009, began this now multi-decade long journey of uh, getting very, very well educated in Judaism, and specifically Hasidic Judaism. And it radically changed his life, as well as my life, as well as friends of mine, friends of my siblings, other people that he was able to connect with, that he came across in his personal life, people at the gym, whoever you sort of came across, had friends of mine and their parents, right? People that were going through challenging times. You're able to share the wisdom that you had um, attained over the years of studying very deeply with profound Jewish ideas and concepts that again radically changed the lives of others as well. And so we're doing these classes again, not with any sort of concrete cadence right now, but I'm always looking for ways in which we can serve and provide value. And it's been very evident to me, obviously, as your son, Dad, how much of a master you are in this space, how helpful you can be, how much people can learn and improve their lives with what we're going to be talking about today. So, all that being said, to say I'm excited to have you on, Dad, and to have this conversation today.
Great, Andy. Thanks for inviting me here, and it's a real pleasure to be a part of your community and to get to share some thoughts with everyone. And before we move forward, let me just apologize. It's totally on me that we started a couple minutes late. As Andy said, I'm a little technically challenged, so you'll forgive me for being a little bit of an old guy.
It is all good. So, guys, where I want to start with today is this underlying idea that I think so many of us have um, at some point in life, which is, what is my purpose on this planet? Which is, why am I here? What am I meant to do? What does all of this mean? All of these questions, and um, I'll share an anecdote, and I will say that we're going to start here and see where this conversation takes us, and maybe we'll have a few minutes at the end to talk about the crazy equity markets and what the market is doing over the last today and 10 plus days at this point. Maybe we'll have some time there at the end for that. But I remember, Dad, you explaining to me, many years ago at this point, that so many people will talk about what they do professionally and how they're not finding purpose in it. And, they were sort of sold on the idea. I think many of us are sort of sold that you're going to be able to find this amazing profession where you wake up excited to go to the office or wherever it is that you're working and find tremendous purpose in what you do and the people that you serve and what you do professionally. Um, and for many people, they realize that that doesn't end up being the case. And it can elicit this, question of, well, if it's not work, then what am I here for? And you laid it out to me that was just such a misconception that so many people have. So I'd like to start there, and ask you to express your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's a great place to start. Let me begin by saying that uh, when I was in college, it was my senior year, and I was majoring in economics and politics, and I had a little bit of a panic attack, and I come from a family of doctors. My father's a medical doctor, my brother's a medical doctor, my uncle's a medical doctor, and uh, for a minute, I thought, wow, I really have gone off track. I should be a doctor. I want to help people in my life. I really want to help people. And how am I really going to help people if I go into economics or finance? And I called my dad and I said, Dad, I think I made a big mistake. Maybe I should stay in school for a few more years and take some pre-med classes because I think maybe I missed my calling. And my father said to me, Seth, you find your calling, your mission in life in all kinds of ways. It doesn't have to be through your work. He said, I personally am incredibly blessed because I really feel my mission in life was to be a doctor, is to be a doctor and to heal people physically. And as I later, many years later, those were incredibly wise words my father shared with me. And many years later in life, when I delved much deeper into Judaism and understanding, the philosophy that is deeply rooted in Judaism, I realized that your mission in life is it's you're running into it constantly. You're running into it with the people you interact with, your family members, your children, your brothers, your sisters, your parents. These interactions that you have, God is always sending you signals. And your role in life is to improve your relationships, to be a light to other people, to give them hope, to give them strength, to be kind, to be friendly, to manage your own emotions properly, to not lose your temper, to not get depressed. This is all part of your mission in life. And every single day, when you wake up in the morning, you open your eyes, you will be confronted by your mission in life. And when you work to make a living. That's why you work. You work to support yourself, to support your spouse, your children. But that is not your mission in life. Now, when you go to work, that's the area where you're spending, most of your day. You're going to be encountering your mission, but it doesn't necessarily involve, I'm super thrilled to be a lawyer, or I'm super thrilled to be a banker, or whatever it is that you do. That's fulfillment is through your interactions every single day with, the people you confront with constantly. That's where you should find your fulfillment and your mission.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. I think one thing you mentioned there is bringing up things like being happy and just being a light to the world. And also some things that um you sort of alluded to are the obstacles and the challenges and having the opportunity to overcome those to grow from them. Um and there are, like you said, always these opportunities to do that, to elevate hardships, to you know, do your best to turn dark into light. And even on a micro level, some of these are really, really small things that may pop up in daily life, but there's always opportunities to just do good. Um, so I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, and when before just to elaborate on something you just touched on, part of life is struggle and difficulty and pain, right? And it's unavoidable. As a human being, pain and struggle is you're going to confront, unfortunately, or fortunately, these challenges. And oftentimes that's where most of our growth comes from. And having the proper framework in mind when you're inevitably going to confront a painful circumstance, not to go into a tailspin, not to knock yourself down and get more and more depressed and sink into darkness. That painful thing that's happening to you is actually an opportunity, and it is connected to your mission. It's connected to your mission. And I'll share you something, a very deep insight uh, from from Torah, from Judaism. When Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge and good and evil, they were thrown out of the Garden of Eden, and they descended into the world that we live in. And it is a world of pain. And humanity has the mission collectively to essentially repair the sin that Adam and Eve did. And we each have a responsibility to fix, to repair our little corner of the world. And our little corner of the world includes the obstacles and painful things that we confront in our life. And we have to tackle them. And part of tackling them and making that repair is approaching every situation, as difficult as it may be, with the best attitude that we can possibly bring to it.
Yes. Yeah. The paradigm shift of understanding that negative emotions, periods of pain, discomfort, right? Any of those negative experiences and emotions are just part of the human experience, right? That's really what you said. When Adam and Eve descended into this world, they began to have the human experience, which includes all of these emotions. And it's not that we are being presented with obstacles and challenges that are impossible to solve that no one else is having to deal with. Right? Everyone has their own unique battle, and sometimes that can be challenging because maybe you feel that since maybe your family members or the people that you hang out with aren't experiencing the same hardship that maybe you are. Um, so what do you think about that frame that because everyone has their own unique challenges, how can you truly understand that it's something you can manage, it's something that you can overcome. In fact, it's directly for you, uh, tailor-made for you, for you to overcome and accomplish.
Right.
Um, how can someone really go about truly understanding that and digesting that?
Two things there in your question that I want to try to unpack and focus on. One is this concept of emotions, that we all have negative emotions, and some people, that negative emotion may be a tendency towards anger. For another one, it may be a tendency towards sadness. For another person, it may be a tendency towards jealousy, right? And I think one of the things you hit on there was jealousy. Why am I being hit with this problem while someone else isn't? These emotions that we experience. A way to think about that is we were given those emotions, and it's our responsibility It's our responsibility. It's our mission. It's our purpose in life to work on correcting, fixing those emotions. So if it's a tendency towards sadness, depression, to really work on that and know that your creator gave that to you because he has the utmost confidence in you that you can repair it. You can transform that sadness into an emotion that brings you closer to God, closer to your creator, and therefore brings you joy. And he gave it to you. He gave you this, this dark part of you because he knows that you're capable. He has the utmost, he believes in you so much that you can fix it. And that's why it was given to you. And that connects to the other question that you had. So that's the emotional piece. Why me? Why is it that I'm having such a tough time making a living and my friend is absolutely crushing it? How can that be? I'm just as smart, or maybe I'm not as smart, but why aren't I as smart? Whatever it is, why me? Why can't I be as fortunate as the guy who's just, whatever he touches turns to gold? And the reason is the same. God trusts you to deal with your specific situation and make your situation have the best possible attitude and strive to be, I don't want to sound, you know, sort of make a mundane kind of, everyone says this, but really the best version of yourself that you can be. But you were chosen. You were chosen for your particular path. And we've all heard the expression "stay in your lane." Stay in your lane. Focus on yourself. Don't look over your shoulder and see what the next guy has, because the next guy has. You may see, all the glitter. He's making such a great living. He has his own package of difficulties that God gave to him that he needs to work on, he's been entrusted to fix. We all have our own little corner of the world. So there's really no need to be envious of anyone else. And actually, you should take it as the greatest compliment. God gave you this incredible challenge, this burden, because he knows you can elevate it. He knows you can do something great with it. It's actually complete confidence in you. And that's why you were chosen.
Beautiful. I want to pivot to a moment to something that we brought up a couple times, which is family. Um, family for you is always a huge priority, no question. And I think your role and just how you went about being a husband and a father changed over the years. Though, like I said, it was always a priority, which is interesting in itself, and maybe you want to touch on that. Um, but why? What makes? Well, yeah, I'll ask the question this way: Why is so much of our purpose um, to play the roles in our family, whether that be husband, father, wife, sister, nephew, uncle, aunt. Why is it so important to excel in that realm of life? And then the second part of that question is, and how does one do that?
Yeah. So I love the question. So we're put in a specific family. We have specific parents, siblings, if you're a parent, children, and it's not accidental. It's not random. These people were put into your inner circle, into your family, because that's where your greatest growth comes from. Now, I'll tell you, as a parent of you, Andy, and your sister and your brother, um, your kids challenge you more than anyone else in the world. At least that's how I've found it. And your spouse challenges you more than anyone else in the world. They push your buttons and they force you to grow in ways that you couldn't have possibly grown if they weren't in your lives. You'll notice that in a lot of families, who are the biggest blow-ups with? Who are the biggest explosions, right? Brothers don't speak with brothers, sisters don't speak with brothers, parents stop speaking with their children. The things that drive you most mad are your closest relationships, right? Divorce, look at the divorce rate. It's all by design. Your greatest growth opportunities come from the people that you should be closest with, your family. Again, it's not an accident. So if you have a really tough relationship with someone in your family, God is sending you a message. You got to work on yourself. You got to work on that relationship. You got to repair it. That's part of your mission in life, and it might even be your most important mission in your life. That's where the gold is. See, the gold is inside. And oftentimes you got to dig hard for gold, right? Gold is not sitting on top of your front lawn, right? Glittering. Nope. You got to dig down deep. It takes work. It takes work. But when you put in that work, you put in that effort, and you work on yourself to mend those relationships or to make those relationships as good as they can, and they can be great. They can be great. The spiritual, emotional reward is unlike anything else. So all family relationships are going to have some struggle, but again, it's to help you grow and your family members grow.
Yeah, I mean that's tremendous. It is so interesting. And it's very unfortunate that a very significant percentage of families have issues with family members not speaking to each other, with just having broken relationships, and it can sort of be a touchy thing. Everyone knows that everyone's family has strange things that go on. And that's sort of the biggest proof as to how significant it is, how important it is that you have an amazing family environment, right? It's such a significant piece of life that it's so common. It's so common, and that what you said really uh illuminated this for me, that it really just is uh an opportunity to create something amazing, right? The lows with a poor family environment and dynamic, the lows of that, the uh, baggage that comes with it, it's significant. It's really tough. And when your family life is amazing, like you said, the spiritual rewards as well as just your daily life in your home with your spouse and your children, or if it's with your parents or your siblings, having harmony, right? It is just one of the most tremendous rewards, if
Yeah.
not the.
And if you understand that if there is a tension in your relationship with someone, particularly someone you love, someone or that's in your family, it's it's a sign that it's something that you need to work on, right? It's not, we often interpret it as, oh, this is someone who I need to get away from. This is someone who I need to break a relationship with. Uh, and look, sometimes in abuse, there are there are exceptions to the rule, right? Sometimes the lesson is this is a narcissistic person. This is an abusive person. So sometimes the signal is, yeah, I do need to distance. I'm not saying divorce is always bad. No, but more often than not, the overwhelming majority of times, it is, I need to work on myself and work on this relationship to make it good. And that's Hashem. God, right, Hashem. That's a Jewish term we use. God put this person in my life because it's something I need to work on. I need to improve this relationship, and I need to improve myself. I need to
Right.
improve myself to make this relationship better.
Right. I was going to say, because oftentimes, especially with one spouse, it's really a mirror of themselves. And you will be tested with the exact things in your nature that that need to be corrected.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Very good. So, you realize you have a challenging situation with a family member. You reflect on it deeply, understand it's an opportunity for growth. It's an important thing that you really got to work hard to improve and take care of and elevate and make good. Your next step from there is just having a candid conversation and trying to approach that relationship and conversation with love and empathy. Is that what you would say is the best path forward? What are maybe some additional challenges that can come that maybe you could help people
Yeah,
navigate?
that's I think so often when we have a difficult relationship, what the human default is to say, the problem here is you. That's the default. We rarely think that, you know what, maybe I have something to do with this. So I think the first step is to look inside, to examine carefully uh, your own your own role in in the problematic relationship, and see how you can be kinder, warmer, more giving, less blaming. And sometimes that will just get the job done. You make the adjustment, and the other person will respond favorably to you. Um, you know, there's if there's someone in your life who's always cheerful and happy and warm, in all likelihood, you're going to respond in a similar fashion. Now, if that doesn't work, I would say step two is to have, as you said, a calm conversation with someone, coming from a good place, coming from a warm place. These conversations never go well when you're in an emotional state and you just walk in there with anger or with extreme sadness. The other person then reacts back to you in a similar negative way. So if you're going to have that talk with somebody, it has to come when you are in a good emotional state and you can come at it in a loving way. And they know it's coming from a good place, and to speak
Hmm.
calmly. That's absolutely critical.
Yep. Yes. I know that I told the community dad, I guess it was last week or the week prior. I think maybe the week prior that we were in New York and we went to see Rabbi Shalom Arush, who wrote he's actually written dozens of books. You've read a bunch, I've read a bunch, and we've both recommended to Greystone students and clients. Uh, I think specifically the Garden of Peace, which is a man guides to marriage, and there's a women's version as well. And he really states, and we're not allowed to read the women's version. So at least in the men's version, what I can say is that it is our absolute number one priority in life for a man to be an incredible husband. That is priority number one. That's it. And if you do that, the greatest blessings will come your way. That is everything. Um, nothing is more important than being an amazing partner for your wife.
That's right. And I would say, I would add to that, when when a husband is when a man is a great husband to his wife, and you have children, the lessons that the children learn from that. They learn kindness, they learn respect, they learn the important uh, idea of treating your loved one with respect and kindness, to talk softly and gently, never, not with anger. So not only does it have an incredible impact on your relationship with your wife, your spouse, but also the imprint it leaves on your children. It's an indelible imprint, and they'll model that behavior. And if you don't, they also will model anger and shouting. Kids just absorb what they see from their parents.
Yep, that's so true. And at my grandfather's 90th birthday, when I spoke, I said, that his life's work was sitting at this table, and he created this extraordinary family, and we're so blessed to have the family that we do. But that's exactly sort of the point I was making, which is I wasn't his son. Um, but I got you as a father who was his son, who learned from him how to be an amazing father. And it's interesting. I started this session saying maybe I said at one point maybe you'll you don't want to talk about it. It's interesting you were an amazing father before you got very religious, though certainly change things up a little bit. But it's because you were an amazing father when you were secular because of my grandfather. So it creates this generational, this cycle that will just continue and serve as your legacy. Your last name will always hold that value, um, and that's that's beautiful.
Yes,
Uh,
and Andy, just to add on to that, because I think there's a important point I want to make. Let's say you didn't come from that type of loving home where your parents treated each other with love and respect. That's part of your mission. Your mission then is to break the cycle. You talked about the virtuous cycle, but if you're from a family where there's a negative cycle, your mission is to break the cycle. And your creator has entrusted in you, he has that confidence in you that you have the capability to break the cycle for your children, for yourself, for your spouse, which is an unbelievable responsibility.
mhm. Yes. Alrighty, incredible. Folks, let us know in chat. Just drop a one if you've found this conversation valuable. I would love to know. And we have about just shy of 10 minutes left here. Dad, I want to transition a little bit. If we could touch on um, equity markets a little bit. So, folks, for context, like I said, if you missed the beginning of this session, um, the content, which you've probably seen my dad and I together in, is generally for our long-term investing program. And we do webinars providing value, giving you guys insights into how my dad thinks about global economic and political issues, specifically how they relate to and impact financial markets, and how to use that analysis and take that analysis that my dad then does to invest his capital, multiply his net worth, right? So my dad has a tremendous track record of managing wealth for large institutions, large hedge funds, and asset management firms. And like I said, that's what you've done professionally for your whole career. So we'll be sharing. We're gonna have a webinar coming up in just shy of 2 weeks. Okay, so we'll give you guys more information on that, likely starting next week, the specific date, exactly what we'll be covering, etc. So we'll be going through some of this analysis in a longer form content and call with you guys. But Dad, I want to get your thoughts on what's going on right now. I just actually I'm starting. It's that period of time, Dad, where I'm getting texts from friends with people that I know in business that are texting me asking what's going on with equity markets. Because we've seen probably still probably around 6% pullback from the highs. Obviously, all due to the chatter with tariffs. I know you are passionate in your views as to Trump and his team and how they're handling this. So would love your analysis. I think it'll be super valuable for folks to get an idea of what you're thinking here.
Yeah, so before I jump into it, let me just preface this by saying, um, anyone who voted for Trump, um, I confess I voted for him. I don't know if I should say that here or not.
Of
Um,
course, yeah.
yeah, in fact, I voted for him 3 times. Every time he ran, I voted for him. I think he's doing a lot of good things, but the one area where I think he's very misguided is on tariffs. And the way I'm going to describe this for you, I'm not going to get into the details of the tariffs and why they're not good. That can be for another conversation. But just to keep it very simple, if a patient goes to a doctor and the doctor begins to medicate the patient, and every day the patient is feeling worse and worse and worse and worse, and it gets to the point where the patient can barely walk. The doctor, if the doctor says, don't worry, you're misunderstanding, okay, your body doesn't quite get it, you're going to be fine. So the doctor keeps medicating the patient, and then the doctor kills the patient, okay? The doctor needs to listen to the patient. Now, you could make the case that uh, in the case of someone having cancer and chemotherapy, the chemotherapy is going to ultimately make the patient better, even though the path to get there is very painful. But the thing with tariffs is we have years and years and years of studying the impact of tariffs on the United States and on the impact that they've had on other countries. And the impact is always negative. It's always negative. It may benefit a certain sector, but overall it harms the economy. It causes higher prices. It causes the unemployment rate to go up. It's very painful. But for whatever reason, Trump and his team of economic advisors have got it into their heads that they know better. The fact that the stock market is plummeting, it was 6% down, as Andy said. Now it's probably closer to 6.5, 6.8% down, pretty much on a daily basis. There's some bumps up higher here and there, but for the most part, the trend has been steadily down ever since investors realized Trump isn't joking around about tariffs. So Trump and his financial and economic advisors should listen to the patient. The patient is the stock market, and ultimately the economy will catch the illness of the stock market. It's only a matter of time. If the stock market falls too hard, the economy will also get sick. So this is what's going on. So to understand why the market is sick right now and selling off, it's because President Trump and his team are ignoring the signals, and they should start paying attention to the signals. So that's to understand the why.
Yep. Okay. Amazing. I mean, I think even before this, we had seen the very apparent increase in volatility that comes with a Trump presidency, right? What was the day the day after the election? What was the market up? 2.5%.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was that immediate roar and overall just a big increase in volatility. We as options traders are able to see that we had a bit of a discussion on it this morning and just how much pricier option contracts are. We have to go to more out of the money contracts to get the same price because implied volatility is very high. Um, you've mentioned that in our retirement mastery program, you've spoken a lot about you warned of this. A Trump presidency will be good for markets, very good for markets, but it will be a roller coaster and it will be highly volatile. So can you talk? We just have a couple minutes here, but can you just dive a little bit deeper into that and sort of what's in store for the next 4 years? What do you sort of expect it'll look like?
So President Trump is incredibly confident right now. He, feels like he got a mandate, and he is not afraid to drive 150 miles an hour into things to try to get a win. And right now he's driving 150 miles an hour at our trading partners. And, he wants concessions from them on certain things. And he's convinced that he has the leverage to get them to cave to his demands. And he's not going to back down. The thing is, eventually they will back down and he'll get concessions from them. In some cases, those concessions won't be all that phenomenal, but they'll be enough to let him say, I got the win. And then he is going to back off these tariffs. Now, that win could come tomorrow. It could come in a week. It could come in a month. It could come in 3 months. Ultimately, we know Trump enough from his first term in office and just his personality, his ego. Trump is not going to bury our stock market for long. He's not going to bury our economy for long. He'll put us through some pain, but ultimately, he's going to take the win. And when he takes the win and starts to peel back some of these tariffs, we're going to see the stock market take off. And it's going to take off very, very hard. Again, we don't know the precise timing of when that's going to happen, but it will happen. And that's why it's very important to take advantage of this market turmoil, because you can be sure people are selling, they're selling out of their 401ks, they're panicking, they think this is a train wreck. It's not a train wreck. It is an opportunity, and that's the way you got to look at this. It's an opportunity, and these opportunities don't come along very often. So take advantage and don't run. Most investors are running for the hills. I'll say one more thing if there's a sale in a store, something goes, let's say the price, eggs go on sale, eggs which just keep going up and up and up in price. Let's say there's a sale on eggs. Everyone's going to run to the store. The funny thing is with the stock market, when there's a sale, everyone runs for the exit. They get terrified. That's human emotion. You've got to take advantage of the sale, get your courage up, step in, and buy, and ultimately you'll be rewarded.
Yep. Incredible. So, I mean, the next 4 years is a huge opportunity to generate extraordinary wealth. And you got to take advantage of the opportunities that Trump will undoubtedly give to buy dips, and most importantly, to not be selling. Of course, it's important what to be buying. There's tons of people who will be trying to buy discounts that on individual name stocks that will not see in hindsight 5 years down the road looking back that they were good opportunities to buy. So you got to be buying the right things. We will be speaking to this in greater detail. Like I said, in a couple of weeks here, we'll keep you updated on that webinar. We'll also likely be doing another personal growth class of this kind next week. So I'll keep you updated on that as well, team. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Dad, thanks so much for taking the time. Guys, again, we would love feedback. Let us know how you guys liked it, and we look forward to talking soon. Have a great one.
Thanks, everyone.